I only have one question. Why do people obsess about this?
Let's go.
So this is the all-famous Overdose Galm. It is hard to get, it's never in stock, and it's extremely expensive. It is a chassis that's made by, well, they say it's a Weld in Overdose. Okay, for this, I'm going to have to read this because I have my bullet points here. Weld is not, and when I say Weld, it's, you know, it's the parent company for Overdose. Basically, it's the same company, but it's just Overdose is the brand and RC portion of the business. Weld Overdose is a real drift shop. It's a tuning shop, and they have racers on their team, and they go out and do drift competitions, and they win. I think that's one of the reasons why people love this brand. Although people don't really talk about it, so I kind of feel like they don't know about it too. Because nobody's ever talked about it. It's only the Japanese guys that are talking about it, but they already know, so they don't really talk about it either. That's why I'm talking about it. I think it's really cool that they bring in their expertise. To a certain extent, I know there's a lot of things that are probably different, but you know, style, the bodies, a lot of the replicas that they do are based off of their real cars, and the liveries that they do are all translated over to this stuff here from the real stuff. So they're in Yokohama. They have a shop in Yokohama, I believe. Koichi Yamashita is one of their drivers, I believe. 2020 Formula Drift Japan champion. But yeah, super interesting. I want to do another video about this and do a deep dive on it. What had happened was he had met a very talented RC driver ironically named Ryo, also in Japan, and he was inspired to start creating custom chassis for him and to mentor him and all that stuff. I guess that's how it started. The Overdose part is the RC car portion of the business, and they build these, and they only build so many. They also have limited editions. All these metal parts are upgrades that are very expensive, hard to get. Nobody ever has it in stock, and when they do, they go out of stock real quick. So I was really curious. I was like, what is up with this chassis? Why is everybody so obsessed with it? And why do people hate it? Because of that too, you know. And I couldn't find one. I couldn't find a chassis at the time that was new in the box, and you know, to buy all these metal parts and everything would be extremely expensive. So then I actually started looking for a fully built one, because I also wanted to know, I wanted to get a tuned chassis from Japan with the parts in it, with basic parts, because I figured it's probably tuned to a certain degree, and I want to know what that feels like. There's actually no information, very little information, and even if there is information about this, they assume you know everything about it. So if you're getting into RC drift, this might be a good video for you, because we're going to discover together what the heck is going on with this, the different versions, the different parts. I'm going to probably do multiple videos on this, because there's no documentation on what part came out when and why it's better, possibly. The good thing is I understand Japanese. So I've watched a lot of Japanese videos, and what I want to do is start to share that information. Some of it is directly from the Overdose guys, and they talk about a lot of stuff that I have never seen anybody talk about in a YouTube video in the States, in California, wherever you guys are. So I'll be that guy. I'll translate all that stuff, because I'm just curious. Okay, so this particular chassis, let's break it down. So this is the version 1 from what I can figure, but everything is basically upgraded except for the battery tray again. The chassis is a trans chassis, this one is still being used by many people, and basically allows you to change your wheelbase. And the reason why I suppose you would do that is to fit different bodies, first of all. And second of all, of course, that's going to change your driving dynamics. And then what I had found out is that, oh, this is missing I'm missing a screw right here. Yep. So you can put more or less screws in there, I believe, to strengthen or make it more flexy. Because I guess that's the thing. Although I don't see more parts or areas I can connect it with. So I don't know if you can actually do that with this. Anyways, so there's that. There's this top plate that's an add-on. There's this floating section, which I believe, I don't know if that's a base part. But I also got oh yeah, you see here it says floating motor mount system. I believe that's a unique thing to the Overdose Galm. And I suppose it's to eliminate the vibration coming from the motor through the gears to the suspension. So when you blip it, it doesn't upset the suspension so much. There's mods where you flip this and you put the motor on the back. You can also, I believe, from this configuration, put the motor on the top. This one came with the motor on the bottom, which I think it feels more stable. The electronics are quite old, like I said. These front areas are all upgraded. These bent tie rods, I suppose, are interesting because it's bent and then it hits right here. And it's not going completely 90 degrees. I'm wondering if that's the reason why it spins out. And maybe that was one of the complaints that people had with this version 1. And then people started putting more weight in the back, so moving the motor in the back and stuff like that. So that's something that I experienced. And then what I started doing was I started playing with the toe and some of these aspects here, like the camber and the wheel offset, to try to make it not spin out so much. So I think that was a common thing back then. But overall, I've gotten it to a place where it drives quite good, although it is very difficult to drive one-handed. So all the filming, I'm actually driving two-handed while I'm holding the camera. But I'm working on it. I will do another video actually on my journey to figure out what kind of cameras and how to figure out how to film RC cars, because that's a whole nother thing and people don't really talk about that. If I don't want to film with an action camera or a pocket, then I have to film with one of these DSLRs, and it becomes very difficult to get that quality. And it's been a real struggle actually to try to film this stuff while driving it. If you have someone else, if you have a buddy filming, that's not a problem at all. But if you're a YouTuber, if you want to do YouTube, you gotta be filming content all the time. You gotta be able to film it by yourself. But anyways, sidetrack. Let's see, next topic. Let me look at my list here. Oh yes, I'm using a Futaba 10PX right here. It's supposed to be one of the best. I think people like Sanwa as well, which I'm not sure if that's a Japanese company or Chinese company, but Futaba is a Japanese company, and of course everybody in Japan uses Futaba mostly. I think some people use Sanwa, but all the old school guys, you probably are on Futaba for the most part. And I'm familiar with Futaba, so that's what I got. This is apparently really good with some of the newer electronics, because it'll talk to the newer electronics directly, like the AccuVant system, which I will do another video later. This one doesn't have that, but I have another chassis that has this, that has the AccuVant stuff. So this feels good. This wheel feels good, which maybe I'll do another video about that. But this is all on Futaba, and the gyro here. Let's go through the electronics. The gyro is a older Yokomo. I looked it up. It's so old I couldn't really find it. Couldn't find any reviews or anything. So it must have been before YouTube was like really a thing. I also have this ESC that I think is a Yokomo ESC BL Pro 4. Not sure. I didn't really look it up. And then we have some kind of a older servo as well. I would think it was probably okay back in the day, but today it's probably quite outdated. But this thing drives really nice. It drives really nice. I like it. And what I noticed, the thing that I noticed, and of course the point of this video is to figure out why people love Overdose so much. I think it's the vibe. I think it's also the precision, because if you look here, these upgrade parts, you can adjust so many little things here. And I've watched a lot of videos of the creator of these parts for Overdose. I apologize, I don't remember his name, but he talks about how he came up with, you know, these adjustments and the thinking behind it and all that stuff. And I'll do more videos about each part and everything as we go along. This kind of thinking and R&D I have not seen from the other companies as much. At least I haven't found that information yet. And when you adjust these little things, you actually start to notice the differences. Whereas if you were to change something on an Arma Mojave, right, you're probably not going to feel that much, because the servo system and the steering is at the baseline not very accurate at all anyways. It's just a whole nother level of control. And this is the reason why, you know, I'm talking to FPV drone pilots that like to tune. That tuning is a big part of the fun, right? And me going now to surface stuff, I get so much more enjoyment out of tuning RC drift cars than an FPV drone. On an FPV drone, you do a little bit of PIDs here and there, and then you're set and you're done, and you may transfer your electronics and duplicate that setup. You're pretty much done. It's like one and done. You set it up and you got your style, and when you tune a new quad, it's very much like the same thing, right? Whereas with RC cars, each one is completely different. And even if you have identical setups with different tires, with different wheels, with slight variances of the parts, with a millimeter here and there on all these mechanical things here, it changes so much. The variance is incredibly deep and wide. And I mean, I can see why you see old guys in Japan doing this stuff still. And they're so incredibly dialed in, and they're so into it still. The amount of customization and tunability, and this is just RC drift cars. Then there's the whole aspect of, you know, it's aesthetics. This is another reason why I wanted to start making videos about this, because with drones, you know, Sven and I, if you go back in this channel, if you see our earlier stuff, Sven and I tried to put bodies on the drones, and we thought it was cool, and we thought, you know, it could be a thing, but it just didn't fit that world because weight was such a big factor. With cars though, it's just expected that you're gonna have a body on it. Like if you're talking pure performance, you're probably gonna run this. This is probably better. But because you're talking about downforce, the aesthetics actually start making sense too. Like if you have wings and stuff like that, right? For a drone, it's like detrimental if you have anything on it, right? I never understood what RC cars were about, but now I'm like obsessed, and I've got all these other ones as well, and it's just infinite. So I think it's really cool, it's really fun, and that's it about this chassis. All right, so enough talking. Let's go for a drive, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it. So that's Overdose Galm in a nutshell. Now, I do have some upgrades that I want to do, and I'll make some new videos about that. I think I'm going to keep this as is, because I actually have another Overdose Galm as well. That's a newer one. It's a version 2. So look out for that video. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this. It has the amazing Hoonigan Unicorn body. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.